Hello guys, and welcome back to another Blender tutorial. Today I'm going to show you step by step how to make this really satisfying motion graphic animation. It's kind of like this old school drill, and it's just winding this little bit and it's winding up some cloth. I don't know why this is satisfying, I just think it looks great. I'm going to be showing you how to make all of this. The only difference is here, this is my original you're looking at. The only thing we're not going to be adding are these plants, because they're just ones that I have and I just drag them into the scene, and just these little brass bits. But that pretty much everything else we're making the drill. I'm going to show you where to get the free model. I'm going to show you where to get these nice pre-made textures. I'm going to show you how to separate the different parts, do the animation. It's really simple stuff. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a longer tutorial, so let's jump into it, get started, and always remember, these files are on my Patreon. You can check the description below, and you can also check me out on Instagram, or you can even join the community in the Discord. So all of that in the description with the resources for this. Let's get started. So go ahead and open up Blender, and before we actually do anything, do any sort of modeling, we're going to go to the internet. And we're actually going to use a model that somebody's already made. And I give full credit to the person here. The link to this will be in the description, so you can see who the person is who made it. And by the way, this is CC0, so you are, or CC attribution. So, which means you're allowed to use it for any purpose, even commercial use, as long as you give credit and you remix, transform, build upon the existing material. So go ahead. And it's on Sketchfab. You have to create an account, but it's 100% free to create an account. And you're going to go download 3D model. Now I've already done that, so I'm going to go show you over in my downloads. So in my downloads file, I have this one here. It's called the Miller-Folds drill. I'm just going to right click and I'm going to go ahead and extract all. Okay, so I'm extracting that zip file. And inside of there is a source and a texture. So don't worry about that. We're just going to go back into Blender. And inside of Blender, we're going to just select all the default objects. We're going to press delete. Now let's go file, and we're going to go to import. We're going to go to the FBX option, and let's go over to our downloads, or wherever it is on your computer that your computer downloads things to. For me, it's in my downloads folder in the system, and I'm going to go to Miller-Folds drill, and I go inside here to where it says source, and I click on that. And here you can see it is. Now, thankfully, because I've already done this, I know that even though it's several different parts, they all share the same material. So all you have to do is select any part here, go into your shading workspace, and then you're going to go here to the base color and just drag on it. So drag on the base color and type in image, and let's get a image texture. And let's just click on open, and then we're going to go to wherever that extracted folder is again. And this time we're going to click on textures, and the color one is going to be the base color here. So we're going to click on it. And over here, if you go C and you go, or Z and you go material preview, you should be able to see the drill. So far, we want to build on this a little bit more. So we're going to add a few more of the maps in. So I'm going to just drag this up a little bit. So let's start by coming down here and coming to the normal map. Let's drag the color here, and let's type an image and get another image texture. Let's click on open, and once again, go to that same texture folder, and let's get the normal map, like so. We want to make sure under the color space that has to be non-color data. That's very important. We're going to go Shift D to duplicate this. We're going to click on this folder, and once again we're going to go, and now let's get, I'd say probably the roughness. Let's get the roughness. Once again, we want that to be non-color data. I'm going to plug the color into the roughness of the principled, and you can already see the drill here is starting to look a lot better, but it's a few more maps. So we're going to duplicate this again. We're going to click on the folder. Let's get the MT, which stands for metalness. So that's where we want metallics. We're going to click on it, go open image. And let's plug that color into the metallic slider on our principled. And once again, that needs to be non-color data as well. And I think that's about all we really need for this. It's already starting to look really cool. So now we have that done. Let's go back to our layout. Let's make sure to save this. If you haven't already done it, I'm just going to save it to my desktop. Call it whatever, just be creative. And then what we're going to do is we're going to delete this drill here because we don't actually need that. We're just going to go, or at least the drill bit, we're going to just delete it. And what we're going to do is we're going to combine some of these parts here. So anything that we want to turn, like these wheels over here, I guess at this bit here, and the handle, we're going to select all of that. So I'm going to go to my top view, holding and shift, I'm going to drag over and just select these other bits here. So all of these parts here that make up the crank or the handle here, we're going to take them all, and holding and shift, we're going to make sure that the big wheel is active. We're going to go Control J or Command J, and we're just fusing all of this together. So it's now one kind of object. And we'll fix the origin issue in a second, but for now, let's just also grab this drill bit over here. In fact, let's just select these three little bits at the front, this little detail over here, and then holding in shift, let's select this end here and go Control J to join all of this together, like so. And another thing we're going to want to do is inside of here are these gears. So we're going to grab this gear here and holding in shift, select this part over here and this part over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to hold in shift and join it. Once again, clicking on this thing, we're going to go Control J, and now this is all one object. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's actually tab into edit mode here. And let's go to our top view and let's just select these verts over here. And let's just go Shift S and let's go cursor to selected. So it's nice and in the middle here. I'm going to tab back out. I'm going to press F3. I'm going to type in origin. I'm going to go origin to 3D cursor. And the reason is we want this to all rotate around the right axis. Okay. Now, one of the things here is that this, because of the rotation of this gear here should technically not be directly connected to this, because if this is rotating one way, because of how this is structured, this gear should be rotating the other way. And I'm aware of this mechanical issue, but we're not going to worry about it because you're never really going to notice that in the animation, especially with motion blurs. That's why we're negating that detail. And let's grab this thing over here. Let's tab into edit mode and let's find the center here by, I think what we're going to do, we're going to go to our front orthographic. We're going to go to our cursor and let's just click roughly here in the middle as close as we can to getting it in the middle. And let's click back on the mover. Now that we have our cursor there, let's just go F3 once again. And let's go origin to 3D cursor. It's already here because we used it before. And now our origin point is in the middle here. So if we go to our front view and we go R to rotate, you can see this bit rotates. Now there's a little bit here that didn't connect. So I'm just going to select it, select the wheel and go Control J. If anything like that happens, just make sure to join it to the main wheel. So now we have our drill pretty much set up. We have our textures. We have the bits connected that we want connected, like this bit over here. So now we can, now we can kind of like go on with the rest. I think what we're going to do now is probably model the little bit that comes in here. So let's go into our front view. Let's go Shift S and let's just go cursor to world origin because we want the cursor back in the world origin there in the middle. And then we're going to go Shift A. Let's just add in a cylinder and let's just go S to scale this cylinder down. Let's go G, X and move it forward. And over here, what we're going to do is we're going to go in our front still. We're going to go R, Y, 90 and hit enter. Let's just go S to scale this down. You can see we probably need to move this up, but we want the drill to be more in the middle, not this bit. So what we're going to do with this bit active, I want to go Control I to inverse the selection. So everything else is selected and we're going to go G, Z and just move the drill down till it's kind of roughly in the middle here. Don't be too perfect about it, just so this thing lines up here. And with this bit here, we're going to go move it in a little bit. Then we're going to tab into edit mode and let's delete this back face here. And let's grab this front face and also delete that. Then just grab these verts like so, and then go G, X and move them out. We're going to move them out probably about this much. And then in our top view, our top orthographic, we're going to, with this selected, we're going to go Shift D to duplicate, right click, and then go RZ90 and press enter. So we've rotated 90 degrees on the Z. And in our top view still, we're going to go E to extrude and Y and extrude it out like so. And let's just go over, in fact, let's just select the whole thing by selecting part of it, going Control L. Now we have it all active. We're going to go over to our modifiers and let's give this a mirror. Let's set it to Y instead of X and enable clipping. And let's go P and let's separate selection, tab back out. And let's just obviously grab this bit here and just get rid of the mirror. We only want this new bit we've made to have the mirror. And now all we have to do is tab into edit mode and we can grab this bit over here, maybe move it on the Y down a bit. Shift D to duplicate, R90, hit enter. Remember, we're still in our top orthographic. And then we're going to go S to scale it up a bit, and then G, X, move it forward, E to extrude, and X to move it over like so. And let's just press F to fill this. And let's just grab this one over here and press F to fill. Then we're going to go E to extrude, S to scale, make it like so, and then E to extrude and X. Let's extrude it out along the X, about this much. Maybe a bit more. And then we're going to go Control B with this face active and bevel it. rolling our middle mouse button to add more segments. And then we can go to our edge select, and let's just Shift Alt left click on these edges here and this one here, and then go Control B once again and just give them a bevel. And let's tab out, right click, and then go Shade Smooth. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and apply the mirror. And with this active, I'm going to hold in Shift and select this rod here and go Control J to join it all together, and I'm going to right click and go Shade Smooth. What I might do is just tab into edit mode, select the whole thing, and then I'm just going to go RX90 and hit enter. So now it's like this in the front orthographic view. Okay, so in our front orthographic view, this is what we should be seeing. What I might do is just tab into edit mode and kind of scale this thing up a little bit. So without selecting this bit here, this is up to you. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to maybe scale it like so, and then go Alt H just to hide that out a little bit. It's up to you how much you want to scale this. I think I'm going to go something like that. Looks better. Okay. So now that we have this bit done, let's go Shift A, add in a plane. Let's scale it up probably about this much. Tab into edit mode and then go Control R to add in the loop, and then roll that middle mouse button to add in 2 segments. Double click, and then with this new face selected, we're going to go E to extrude and Z and extrude it down just probably about just enough so the handle doesn't intersect with the ground, so probably about this much. And then we're going to go and select the side faces and just delete them. And we might want to actually now grab this drill, so tab back out into object mode. And let's just grab this drill and all of its bits, and just without the floor, so everything except the floor. And this is in our front view, go G, Z, and move it up till it's kind of sitting above like so. So now we can actually grab the floor again, go in here, and I'm going to actually grab this and go G, X, move it in a little bit, and grab this one, G, X, maybe move it in like so. And we'll probably bring this up a little bit. Maybe bring this in a bit more. It's completely up to you. I kind of went with something like this for my original. Something like that should be fine, just so when we rotate this thing eventually, that it won't intersect with the ground. And that's kind of one of the reasons we do that, and it kind of looks cool as well. While we're at it, let's just select this in object mode, go Control A and apply that scale. And inside of edit mode, let's just select these edges here. I'm holding in Shift and selecting these 4 edges, and I'm going to go Control B to bevel them, rolling the middle mouse button to add some segments. I'm going to go something like this, and then I'm going to go to face select this face at the bottom, I'm going to go P, and I'm going to separate by selection, and I tab back out, and this is going to be the thing where we have our grass. So select all of this and just go right click and go Shade Smooth. And for now, we're also just going to come in here, something like this, and we're going to go Shift A, we're going to go add in a camera. Go into your camera view by pressing 0, and then with the camera active, you can hit G and then the middle mouse button and just move your mouse and it'll zoom back out. Now let's go over to our camera settings and make this orthographic. And now we can use the orthographic scale to zoom in and out. That's the only option. And let's pose it something like this. I'm going to probably bring it back in a little bit like this, and then maybe move the camera over. And we want the focus to be kind of more around this area. That's where we're going to kind of be zooming in. So something like this should be fine for now. And what we're going to do is we're going to now do our animation. So make sure to save as we're going. So let's actually start by grabbing this bit over here, holding in Shift, select the drill bit here, go Control P, and let's just go Object, Keep Transform. So now if we grab this thing here and move it, you can see this is parented to it. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab this chuck here, the bit that holds this bit over here. And we're going to come over to frame 1 on our timeline with this active. We're going to go I, and we're going to insert a rotation keyframe. And then we're going to come up to frame 120. And in frame 120, let's come over here and press N. Let's go to Item. And let's come over here to the X value. And I've already worked this out. If we type in 19,080 and press Enter, and then we go I, hovering over this to insert a keyframe for the rotation, we're now going to have it rotate an amount that's going to work really well. So that's something I found works well. And what we're going to do at the same time, we're going to grab this wheel over here, and we're going to come over to frame 1. And on frame 1, we're going to go I, and we're going to insert a rotation keyframe. And then once again, we're going to come up to 120, as we did before. And on 120, we're going to come here to the Z, and we're going to go 360. And we're going to go hovering over it and press I to insert a keyframe. So now what we're going to have, if we go to frame 1 and we hit the spacebar, as you're going to see, this kind of roughly matches here, which is what we want. Okay, and that's really fun. You're not even going to really notice the gears sliding a little bit if it's off, because we're going to have motion blur anyway, but it'll kind of just give us the idea that we want. We're also going to come here to our end frame value and make it 160. That's how long our animation is going to be. So now that we have this done, let's make sure to save. Now what we're going to do is add our cloth. So let's come to frame 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to our top orthographic view. We're going to go Shift A, we're going to add in a plane. And with this plane, we're going to go G, X, and move it over. S to scale it down. So probably about this much. And we're going to place it right over here. Control A and make sure to apply to scale. And then we're going to go G, Z, and bring it up, just so it's sitting above this prong over here. And then we're going to tab into edit mode, and we're going to go S, X, or S, Y, and scale it along the Y. And we're going to go about this much, or maybe even a bit more. So about the same length as the drill, almost. And then we're going to come in here, Control R, we're going to roll in a few segments, just to kind of square out the faces. And with that done, we're going to press A to select everything, right click, and go subdivide. And let's go over here and just subdivide it a few times. We don't want to go too crazy. Something like 5 subdivisions or maybe even 6 should be enough. We don't have to go too crazy with this. Maybe even 7. I wouldn't go any more than 7. And then what we're going to do in our, let's just actually tab back out. Then we're going to go G, Y, and move it forward, like so. And we're just going to go here and move it just so it is just sitting above here like that. And then we're going to tab into edit mode. We're going to select the vertex option and then Shift Alt left click on this face here. And in our right or left orthographic view, so make sure to go into your left orthographic view by hitting Control and 3 on your number pad. And then in this view, we're going to go E to extrude, and we're just going to do a few extrusions around this thing over here like this, just to make it look like it's wrapped around. It doesn't have to be perfect, just something like this. And then tuck it in here like so. And then what we're going to do with all of these is we're just going to select them, these guys here, with them active, and we're going to go F3, and make sure you're on frame 1, by the way, over here. And we're going to type in hook, and we're going to go hook to new object, tab back out, and then let's select this empty, and then holding and shift select this prong over here and go Control P, and then go object, keep transform. And now we're going to select the cloth bit. We're going to right click and go shade smooth. We're also going to go over to our physics and give it a cloth. And we're going to go down to our collision. We're going to make self collision enabled. We're also going to go up to the shape. Let's just find where it is, the shape. We're going to go to the pin group. So first of all, we need to create a pin group. So let's just go over to our object data properties, create a vertex group, tab into edit mode. And with these all still active here, we're just going to go with that group and assign them to that group. Tab back out and go back to our physics. And now what we can do is if we go all the way down to the shape, we can grab that pin group. And it's essentially going to say that these verts here, these vertices, are not going to be allowed to be simulated. They're going to just stay parented to this empty here. Now what we need to do is actually, we have this cloth active. Let's go over to our modifier. And we need to make sure, this is really important, we need to make sure that the empty is above, the hook empty is above the cloth. If the cloth is above, this will not work. So make sure this modifier stack arrangement is exactly like this. Go to frame 1 and then hit the spacebar, and you're now going to see nothing because I forgot the most important step. We have to actually select this prong over here and just quickly go over to our physics and also give it a collision. And we also want to select the ground here, this ground over here, and we want to give it a collision. So now if we hit the spacebar on frame 1, we can see it's interacting. Now, this is really messy, and I found that the issue here, and just the only thing I could find to resolve it, was grabbing pretty much everything. So pressing A to select everything, and then let's just go over here to our pivot transform, enable it to 3D cursor, and let's just go S, and let's just scale everything up a little bit, about this much. Let's just go to frame 1 and then hit the spacebar. And now all of a sudden you can see it's working better. But what we have here is some collision issues. So let's just set this back to median point, the transform. Let's select our cloth, go to frame 1. And what we need to do here is we need to go down to our self collision. We need to increase the quality up here under the collision. Let's just change that to something like 5. And let's just go now and try that again. Okay, so I found what the issue was, why it was doing that. What you have to do is select this bar over here, just select prong, tab into edit mode, press A to select everything, and then go Alt N and recalculate the outside because the normals were messed up. So the cloth didn't know which way the normals were going. Some of them on the faces were pointing in and some were pointing out. And that's why we were having that issue. I thought there for a second, wow, this tutorial is screwed, but thankfully I found that. So now you can see it's wrapping up quite nicely. So what you can do now is select your cloth and it should simulate relatively quickly, and go to your modifiers. And now let's give this a solidify and make it a little bit thicker. So maybe something like that. And on top of that, let's give that a subdivision surface modifier. And by the way, you can at any time go to your cloth and set up a higher quality. So make it run a little bit better. Go back to frame 1. And you can see it's actually running really nice. There's actually something really satisfying about this. And you know, mess around with your solidify. You can go different directions, maybe bring it in more. Completely up to you, but I think this is really satisfying. And one thing I might do is under the cloth, I might just go under to the collision and make the quality higher there in the steps as well. Just, you know, try out different things. Actually, I might just under the solidify take it out this way. I think that looks better. Okay, that is working really nicely now. So what we can do now is we can grab our cloth, we can go over to our physics settings, and let's just go down to our cache. Let's just go over here to the end value and make it 160. Make sure to save, and let's click on bake. And now it's going to bake this cloth simulation into our blend file. Keep in mind, if you want to redo this, you'd have to delete the bake, change your settings, and then bake it again. If you make any changes now, it's just going to stay the same because we're baking it. But yeah, so you can see now it's baked in here. And now I think we've done all of the hard stuff. Let's just do one more thing. Let's just go to our top view. Let's go Shift A, add in a cylinder. Let's just turn off, or never mind. Let's just tab into here. Let's just delete the caps. So just deleting the faces here on the ends. Select the whole thing and then just go S, Shift, Z, and let's just scale it down. So S, Shift, Z, make it skinnier. Let's just go to our top view and let's just move it along the X. And let's just place it over here where this metal part is. Maybe scale it up a bit. Shift D to duplicate an X, and let's move one over here to this kind of metal bit here at the back. Something like that. And let's just grab these verts. You can place it wherever you want, really, to be honest. I'm just placing it, you know, something like this. Okay, and that just kind of makes it feel like it's kind of something's holding it up. We're going to right click, go shade smooth. And what we're going to do now is grab these rods. Actually, let's go to our materials. Let's click new and let's just call this metal. And let's just give it a base color, make it a bit darker. And let's increase the metallic. And let's bring down that roughness a little bit. And let's grab this prong at the front, come down here to the drop down and give it that same material. And that's looking a lot better. And let's grab our cloth, and so I'm going to put a link in the description to these two materials here on Polyhaven. The first one is laminate floor material. The second one is this fabric material. All you're going to do is come here to the download on both of them. Just download them by the default settings. It should be fine. And then in your downloads folder, in my computer here, I've got the fabric and laminate. I've just extracted both of these zip folders here. And all there is in both of them is some textures and a blend file. Whoops, let me get that again. And that's just already set up for us. Okay, so we don't have to do anything. So you can download these two materials in the link below in the description and just extract those files. And then inside of Blender, to save us some time, we're just going to go File, we're going to go Append. We're going to go to wherever your downloads is, and I'm going to get the laminate floor material. Click on the blend file, go to the materials file and click on the material. And then I'm going to go File, Append again, go back, and I'm going to find the other extracted zip file, which is the fabric. Click on the blend file, go to the material, click on the material. And now I'm going to grab this fabric material, go to my materials tab, come to the drop down, I'm going to click on the fabric pattern 07. Then I'm going to select my wooden floor over here. And I'm going to go to the drop down and give it that laminate floor material. And you can see the UVs are messed up. So all you have to do is go back into your UV editing. With this floor selected, make sure you're in edit mode, A to select it all. Then press U and then go unwrap. And then you can go into your material preview And over here, you can just kind of scale it till you kind of like the scale of things. I'm just going to go with this is fine. And then we're going to just select this fabric over here, tab into edit mode. And then with all of that selected, let's just go U to unwrap. And then you can scale this over here, place it wherever you want, just basic material stuff. And now we have these nice materials, okay? So let's go back to our layout. Let's select our grass here, or what's gonna be our grass. Let's just kind of scale it on the X or the Y a little bit, because we only need to see the bit that we see in the camera, okay? We don't wanna waste too much processing here. And what we're gonna do, oops, I think the camera's moved in for some reason. I don't know why that's happened. I'm just gonna select my camera and I'm gonna go over to my orthographic scale, just zoom out a little bit. Okay, that makes more sense. So just a little bit here, and let's just go to our particles. Let's give it a particle system. Let's make it hair. Let's make it advanced, and under the emission, let's make it 500. Let's bring down that hair strength. And let's go to the viewport display. Increase, we don't have to increase it. Let's just go to children, make it interpolated. And then under the roughness, let's just increase the ununiform a little bit, just a tiny bit, and the endpoint just a little bit like this. And let's go to our materials and give it a new material. I'd recommend you actually give this a grass texture, but for now I'm just going to make this a greenish kind of color, kind of like grass green, something like this. And now I'm going to go ahead and save. And now let's go to our render engine. Let's make it cycles. Let's make it a GPU, if you have a GPU. If you don't, just keep it at CPU. Under the render, let's make the max sample something like 50, should be fine. Make sure to save. And now let's go, for now, this is optional, but I'd recommend you get a HDRI. So if you go to your world properties, go to color, get an environment texture, go open. I already have a few on my computer. I'm just going to select one that I like. If you want to get your own, you can actually go to Polyhaven as well, and under the assets, they have a HDRI library, so you can download whichever HDRI you want. But you know, it makes things look nice. So now if we go Z and we go rendered, you can see we have nice lighting. If you go Control B, you can actually drag over your camera to limit the render. And let's just go Shift A, let's just add in a nice area light as well. And let's just go give that a strength of 2000 maybe. Whoops. 2000, and then increase the size. Let's see what that looks like. Maybe move it up a little bit. It's up to you guys to, you know, add whatever lighting you want. I'm just gonna go something nice and simple like this. And I might go to my world environment, just make it a bit less. But you guys get the overall idea over here. And then what we're gonna do, so we're gonna go back to our layout, and let's just grab the camera, and on frame 1, I'm gonna press I and insert a location for the camera. And then we're gonna just enable auto keying, and we're gonna just move through the animation. And let's just go G and just slowly move our camera and keep moving it over to the side, like so. Okay, maybe moving it around just a bit. And then what we're gonna do is go to our camera settings, and over time, let's maybe go about here. With the orthographic scale, add a keyframe, and we're just gonna slowly move through the animation and just decrease it. Keep adding a keyframe for that, and zooming in, and maybe a little bit more. So something like that, okay? You guys get the idea. So we're zooming in. You guys can do whatever you want with the camera movement, but that's what I'm going with. And let's just go to our render settings as well. And let's just go give this motion blur. And now let's save, and let's just find a nice scene, maybe something like this. I think it's a nice pose. Let's go render and test render this. So render image. And here we have a render. So the more time you spend on it, the better it's gonna look. I already think this looks pretty awesome. I'm gonna show you my original. My original is the exact same thing. I've only spent a little bit more time with the lighting, and I've also added these kind of like strips here that I've given like a brass material. And I've added in just these plant models that I have. You can go to Sketchfab, blend swap, get whatever you want, add them in. But this is just kind of what I did. So this is the exact same thing, exact same animation. I just, you know, added a little bit more finessing to it. I will be uploading this to my Patreon. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you next time for another one.